But this defense, I'm just blown away every week. I am floored every week at their performance. And you look at what they're doing and what they've done this year. If you were to think from where we started the season, where you're like, okay, maybe Quinyon Mitchell can be good in his rookie year. Maybe Dejean can make an impact at some point over the season. Jalen Carter, is he going to be as good as we think he is? Jordan Davis, not getting a lot of snaps. Nolan Smith looks like a bust. Who's the Zack Baun guy? Nakobe Dean, he can't stay healthy. He can't play. All this freaking team has done is become one of the best defenses in the National Football League. And yesterday it really started up front, as it seems like it is all season long with Jalen Carter. He's not getting – I know when we look at defensive players, we're looking at sacks a lot of times, right? Like, well, how many tackles and how many sacks? But the impact Jalen Carter is making pretty much on every snap. Yesterday he had 8 pressures, 7 hurries, 3 tackles for losses, 2 quarterbacks hits, and a sack. And you just saw him the entire game in the backfield. But it's not just him. Jordan Davis really only plays on running downs, but when he's out there on the field, teams can't run against him. It's 3 yards a carry. Nolan Smith yesterday had another sack. I just mentioned I thought he was a potential bust candidate. I did. He was amazing again yesterday. Zack Baun, all over the field. 13 freaking tackles. Howie season. He hasn't missed on a lot this offseason, similar to 2017. He hasn't missed. Zack Baun on a 1-year contract, not making a lot of money, is a hit. A hit. 13 tackles, a half a sack, tackle for a loss, quarterback hit. Nakobe Dean had 10 tackles yesterday. Ravens came in one of the top offenses in the NFL, averaged 427 yards a game, 30 points, 7 yards a play. They only had 302 yards against the Eagles, and they had the garbage yards late and that garbage score late, which was garbage. But you look, Quinyon Mitchell, who, by the way, almost went down yesterday. He went out for a series, or the rest of the series. It looked like maybe he rolled an ankle. He had a high ankle sprain, whatever. Like, your friggin' heart dropped. And it's like, oh, God, no. Because Slay's old and injured all the time. You see what Avonte Maddox looks like out there when he has to play. Isaiah Rodgers isn't the starter we thought he was going to be, and we don't need him to be. But thank God he was okay. But Dejean, the tackle that he made of Derrick Henry, one-on-one, you're talking about a defensive back, and Derrick Henry is a monster. And Dejean just went right at him, textbook tackle, picked him up, drove him into the ground. This is now the second play in recent memory against an elite player. It was Derrick Henry yesterday, and it was Jamar Chase against the Bengals, where he made a one-on-one tackle in a huge spot. That was a 4th down that he made it against the Bengals. But yesterday, big spot in the game, one-on-one tackle. If he jukes him, if he runs him over, who knows what can happen in the momentum of a game. That doesn't happen with this defense. This defense is young. This defense is fast. This defense is athletic. This defense is aggressive. This defense swarms to the balls. This defense doesn't miss tackles. What happened? There was a game at the beginning of the season where there were a ton of missed tackles. That got cleaned up. Vic Fangio has done a fantastic job with this defense. In a league of offense, in a league of quarterback play, in a league of great skill players, and the Eagles have some of the best skill players in all of football. A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, we'll talk about in a second. One of the best Eagles players I've ever seen wearing Eagles uniform. Devontae was out yesterday, but you get what I'm saying. An amazingly talented offensive team. This friggin' defense is carrying the Eagles, and it's a young defense, is carrying the Eagles. It's been a long time since I've been this excited about a group of young players. This Eagles defense is not only for real, it can carry this team into the playoffs. This team is built to play in the postseason. Complementary football, offense, defense, special teams on display again yesterday. Check this out. How good is this Eagles defense? In their 8-game winning streak, they're giving up 15.25 points per game. I was doing math at about 6:30 this morning with my calculator. And that includes the 15.25 points per game, includes 3 Fugazi touchdowns at the very end of games. The Ravens had one yesterday, the Rams had one, and Washington had one. To be doing this in the modern NFL is flat out ridiculous. Flat out ridiculous. At like 258 yards on offense, and you wouldn't have noticed it because the defense just gets stops. They'll give up some yards from time to time, but then they get stops. Ravens enter field goal range. The Ravens exit field goal range. And now Justin Tucker's thinking about it because instead of a 30-yard field goal, which he struggles with extra points, he misses some of the longer ones as well. An amazing performance by this team, an amazing performance by the defense. I can't say enough about them. And I just want to thank the Washington Commanders because if you remember, Cooper Dejean was talked about as being a potential first-round draft pick of the Eagles. He slid all the way into day 2. And he's sitting there with the 40. He's sitting there, and Washington's coming up with the 40th pick. And Howie Roseman and the calls out there where he calls the Washington GM and he gets a deal done and he trades up and he gets the 40th pick and selects Cooper Dejean. Like, are you kidding me? A 1-2 punch of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper Dejean, and Howie Roseman with the divisional rival trades up and gets this kid. Whew. Man, he's unbelievable. By the way, the Commanders released their 2023 first-round draft pick over the weekend, Emmanuel Forbes. Eagles that year, 2023, first round, Nolan Smith, who looks like a stud now, and Jalen Carter, who is a generational Eagles player. He's doing things that guys like Fletcher Cox did in their prime. This dude is unbelievable. So shout out and thank you to the Washington Commanders for making that trade so the Eagles can get up and shore up the secondary. Secondary, linebacker play, Zack Baun and Nakobe Dean. The line. God, I wish Brandon didn't get hurt. This defense doesn't have a weakness.